What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Lawson from Squad Sports. We're really excited to be supporting the Free Agent Friday series. A lot of great talent out there. Without further ado, this is the next free agent you should be signing with your sports team.
All right, we're back for another Free Agent Friday, and today I've got Ed Kaczynski with me. How's it going, Ed?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Let's dive right into and start with where you went to school and any degrees that you have received.
Sure. I went to Loyola University, Chicago. Some may know recent Cinderella story with March Madness, men's basketball. And I was studying actually finance and economics. So originally I was going to be a business major. Sports weren't really on the radar at that time. And I was graduating similar to kind of the environment we're right now. I was actually graduating in 2009 at the height of, the economic downturn, the housing bubble, all that good stuff. And ultimately made the decision to stay in school for another year, get my MBA. And that's kind of where I really identified the sport industry as the industry for me and really made a pivot into that realm.
What was it that made you want to jump into the sports side of things?
Part of it, ironically enough, part of it was just thinking back to when I was growing up and the love of sports and really wanting to contribute in that fashion. Didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to get into. So many people were saying to get involved in sales. Everybody starts out in sales. Here I was, an early 20-something, kid, and I was like, oh, this might be, a great opportunity. At the very least, I'll learn something about myself. I'll do something I might not otherwise do, get involved in sales. And here I am 10 years later.
So what was kind of that first role for you then? Did you do any sports internships, or was, a full-time job your first experience in it?
So all my internships in college were actually in business. I was doing some investment internships. I was doing insurance internships. Everything was really geared toward economics and finance, which was my undergraduate degree. And then once I had graduated with my MBA, I got an opportunity to jump in with the Chicago Fire, Major League Soccer, and they had me in a pseudo part-time inside sales role. We weren't exactly full time. It was only like a temporary position, but at the same time, we were trying to contribute on a full time level, on a full time scale. And fortunately for me, just hustled my butt off. Ended up being the number one revenue producer on my team and got promoted to a full time role. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months after that.
Nice. And what kind of focus did you have with the Fire as far as sales goes?
So with the Fire, we sold anything and everything. We were
Okay.
full menu sales team. When I was in inside sales, we could sell everything. Ultimately, I got promoted to the season ticket sales team because at that time we had identified that we wanted to really push season ticket sales. We were lagging behind in season ticket sales, and we got some pretty lofty goals from ownership at that time. I want to say going into the 2011 campaign, we were looking to get like 3,000 new season ticket memberships. So from the beginning, I was on the season ticket side of things with a focus on season tickets, but still selling premium, still selling groups, all that stuff.
What was kind of your roles that you had with the Fire, and then what kind of walk me through from the Fire to where you're at now?
Sure. So I spent some time on the season tickets sales team, and then ultimately we got into a place where I was asked to move over to group sales. We were at a certain point, we were looking to make a shift to the group sales side of things. We saw some opportunities there, and we had some goals where we were going to try to be one of the top group sales teams in all of MLS. So at that time, I was asked to move over to the group sales side of things because I had previously done a pretty good job of selling group tickets, had some success, and then ultimately when my manager, she got an opportunity to move back to her home state, then I was asked to take over the group sales team and manage that team before eventually getting into a position where I was a senior manager of group sales. And then finally moving over, a little bit of a twist, moving over to Vivid Seats, where I was the senior manager of vendor relations. So a little bit different. I kind of moved out of the team space for a bit, but my reasoning was from a ticket sales standpoint, we're always looking to capture revenue. We're always looking to capture and understand what's going on in the secondary market, understand ticket brokers, how they do their business, how resale marketplaces act. So I thought it might be a good opportunity to get that experience, spend some time in that space. And that experience really allowed me the opportunity to gain some additional skills. So I kind of got exposed to database management. I got exposed to SQL. I was helping out with some of our biggest partnerships that we were able to secure on site. So at one point, I was traveling around with a team of individuals, and we were at the Masters. We were at the NCAA Final Four. We were at the championship games.
Nice.
And then, yeah, it was a fun time, but it was a rough couple of weeks, especially if you're married.
Yeah.
My wife, I came back after those couple of weeks, and my wife was like, "No, this is it for a while.
You're not doing that again."
Yeah, which was a shame, because I was actually in that time frame, I was actually going to the NCAA championship, the Final Four games. Then I flew to Augusta for the Masters, and then after that, I was supposed to go to the Super Bowl. And I had to gracefully ask, hey, what can I refrain from the Super Bowl this year, which was a tough thing to do, because any sports fan getting the opportunity to be there on site with the Super Bowl and to actually
awesome.
be a part of the game, like it would have been an awesome experience. So worked at Vivid Seats for about a year and a half, and ultimately got an opportunity, got recruited to start, or restart the XFL. And for me, being from Chicago and having followed XFL 1.0, it was in some ways a dream come true, because here I am, my brother and I, we would watch the Chicago Enforcers, and it seemed like a pretty neat concept, and and be part of the reinventing, the reimagining of a brand, and also to do it in St. Louis, where they're a sports crazy town. At the same time, they've had a couple pro football teams leave. I thought it was an interesting narrative.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time in St. Louis. I was like, man, it's going to do well there, because people in St. Louis hate the NFL for the most part. So whoever came in there was going to see it, and you guys did well. So what was your role there, and kind of, what kind of stuff were you working on there?
Yeah, so with the XFL, I was the director of ticket sales and experience. So the sales side, the customer service side, I managed a team of 8 full-time individuals. We were full menu, and we were trying to build something from the ground up. We were putting together a lot of those foundational pieces, trying to get from year 1 to year 2, and we were just along for the ride. But yeah, to your point, some folks really were thrilled to see us, come into this space because of the feelings with the NFL and the scar tissue that they ultimately left. But it was an interesting mix. We definitely had some objections to deal with. Some people were just pro football. They were against pro football. They were just like, at this point, I just follow college, I just follow high school. There was definitely some wait and see mentality. Are you guys going to be around? Are you guys going to, how are you going to be involved in the community? So I think we had to prove ourselves in the beginning, and once we were able to really show the community that, we were involved and we, genuinely cared about football in St. Louis and putting together a great product. I think people bought in after a period of time.
What would you say is your biggest asset that you'll bring to a new position?
I think for me, it's the innovation. I love being part of teams, being part of organizations that really want to push the envelope, really want to try something new. And, we're in a space right now where, with the pandemic going on, every industry is looking at, resetting, how can they get better? How can they get leaner? And, for me in my space, or my recent space with Vivid Seats and even the XFL, I was part of, 2 startup environments. So, you had to be inventive. You had to put, some of those foundational pieces in place. You just couldn't look to the past and say, oh, this is how we've always done it. You couldn't rest on some of those laurels. You had to really be creative. You had to be innovative, and you had to take some risks.
What would you say is the biggest area you need to improve on?
So I've had some time to reflect on this, especially with, in sports, with some of the news coming out about toxicity and culture. And, got me thinking about my own experiences in sports, and realizing that there have been some times where I've let myself down, where I've let some of my teammates down, and that's definitely an area that I want to make sure that I've got a focus on, not only in my next opportunity, but moving forward, because culture is such a big deal right now, across the board, and regardless of if you've been furloughed, if you've been laid off, or even if you have a job right now, like, employees are looking at their employers, they're looking at their leadership teams, and they're seeing how they're handling everything. So often companies talk about being, culture driven, people first. And it's great to say, when times are great, but during some of these tough times, and again, I experienced this with the XFL where, things, got a little dicey at the end. Things were very emotional. And, I was looking to my lead, I was looking up the food chain, up to our president, up to, the XFL, headquarters. And at the same time, my team was looking up to me. So I think that's extremely important.
How would you define success?
Success for me comes back to creating a great culture. At the end of the day, whether you're part of a leadership team, or whether you're part of a group that's looking up to that leadership team, I think success is being able to get better in your role, being happy, feeling important, and giving back, and allowing people to be themselves. So some basic fundamental things, but I think at the end of the day, I think that in addition to the job description, in addition to hitting, if you're in sales, hitting revenue goals, hitting touch points, I think those are the core values of success. Are you allowing your team to be themselves? Are they being authentic? Do they have that creative ability and control to come together with ideas, to collaborate? Or is it a culture where you're told there's only one way to do things, and that's how you have to do it? So I think for me, that's having an organization that's successful, or a team that's successful.
For your next role, what are you looking for? What's the ideal role, and is relocation an option?
Relocation is definitely an option. Going back to some of the things we've talked about with defining success, I think it's some of those things. Looking at the culture of an organization. Is it an organization that allows people to be themselves? In what we do, regardless of if you're in sales, or if you're in another department, if you're selling sports, or if you're in another industry, we're all artists. We have different experiences. We come from different backgrounds, and we bring those with us to work every single day. So for me, that's part of what I want in my next opportunity is being able to grow, being able to bring my whole self to work, and to have that creative freedom and have that creative control over what I'm doing. So in my experience, at more of like a micro level, I would say, another type of, sales opportunity, sales and customer service opportunity, I think would be great. I also have a knack for business intelligence, and that was kind of brought out with my time at Vivid Seats, and looking at pricing and analytics, and when people are buying things, and things like that. So very much so, it could be the team side, the league side, or it could be just a product that's out there that helps with end user ease, helps with experiences for customers, but definitely something in the sport entertainment industry.
How about a fun personal fact about you?
So I'm from Chicago, and actually grew up on the southwest side of the city, and not too far from White Sox Park, Kaczynski Park. So everybody always assumes that I am a White Sox fan. Well, I'm not a White Sox fan. And people, when I usually tell them this, they're kind of surprised by it, because they just think everybody in the South Side is a White Sox fan. And my story with it is, I grew up in a family. I was the oldest of 3 kids. We didn't really have access to cable television. So when I started getting into sports, and really identifying, baseball and football and all that kind of stuff, the Cubs were on local television. They were on WGN. They were on local Channel 9. and it was path of the least resistance. It was the best form of marketing. So I became a Cubs fan because of that, and then also because I could kind of live out my real life, fantasies of playing, Major League Baseball at the time. The first 3 years of me playing baseball, when I was, I think, 6, 7, 8 years old, we were the Cubs. So I could envision myself being Mark Grace,
Nice.
being, Lance Johnson, or, being on the mound and pitching and stuff like that, and I thought I was wearing the Cubs uniform. So that's my baseball story.
Nice. I'm sure it probably created some fun times in school with your classmates and friends in that area.
Or at home. I've got a younger brother. He's a diehard White Sox fan. So we had a division at home.
Nice. Nice. Well, Ed, I want to thank you for joining me. Hopefully we can help you get back out there. I mean, you've got some great ticket, sales and leadership experience. So, wish you all the best. But thanks again for coming on. Appreciate it, Andrew. Appreciate you having me on the podcast. And, just want to say thank you for everything that you do and continue to do for the industry, because, you're helping so many people out there, and you're also just putting great content out there, every single week. So appreciate it.